All right, welcome out to the 2026 Louisville show, out to booth 551 and 553, MH Sales Mastery, and we're bringing you MH Sales Mastery live from out here in Louisville. And man, we've got a very special guest with us, Mr. Logan Hayes. Welcome, sir. Welcome. Appreciate you being out
Thanks
here
for
with
having
us.
me. Yeah.
So Logan what is your position at KMHI?
Yep. So I'm the executive director of the Kentucky Manufactured Housing Institute.
I didn't know to call you that or president or what. So okay, executive director.
Yep. Janitor some days. Every day is a little bit different.
I love it, man. I love it. So yeah, so Logan is the executive director of KMHI,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Which is the Kentucky
Manufactured Housing Institute.
There you go.
Yep.
So it's the association that represents our industry in the state of Kentucky. And Logan's done a great job over the last few years, man. Congratulations. I think you just got an award not
Yep.
long ago, right?
Yep.
From MHI on that. So that's also doing a fantastic job just advocating for the industry and for everyone involved in it. And so wanted to bring him on because, it's always great to see the products. It's always great to see all the beautiful homes. We got I think close to 50 homes out here, right? Yeah. All under one roof. But it's always great to know what's going on behind the scenes.
Sure.
Right. And that's what you guys do, right? It's for us in sales, it's not that sexy.
Right. Yeah. Well, I don't know about that. You guys are the pegs in the wheels that keep it going.
So. Yeah, but we don't stop that much to think about all the stuff you guys have to do to make sure we can do that.
Sure. Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah. And so why don't you share that with us? Well, every state association, because I believe that everyone in the industry at their state level should be involved in their association. How do you feel about that? What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we in our association, we've got around 350 to 400 members. They don't all live in Kentucky, but those that do business in Kentucky. So could be manufacturers, could be dealers and developers, installers, service suppliers, parts, community owners, everywhere in between, IT companies to, companies like you, right? That are coaching the industry. So anyone that touches our industry typically is a member of the association, because we have to wear so many different hats, whether it be from an advocacy standpoint, looking at legislation of all right, well, how is this legislation going to affect our lenders, but also how is it going to affect our manufacturers and our dealers, so on and so forth. So, being involved in the association gives you a voice at the table, right? Because if we are pushing legislation or trying to kill legislation that you may not agree with that decision, if you're not in the room to have that conversation, then your voice doesn't count.
That's right.
Yeah. So, getting involved in that, obviously the state level, we also do a lot of advocacy at the local level, but then networking, plugging members in with other members and all of that.
And so that's what a lot of people think when they think state association or I come from the site build world. Before I got into manufactured homes in 09, I was in site build world. I was part of the builders association.
Yep, same.
Right. But everybody thinks that networking, just like my wife was heavily involved in PTA, right? And everybody thought it was sell cookies and do. They don't realize that the actual legislature part, the advocacy part, what moves the needle on these things, right? And so one of the things that I always talk to sales consultants about is, if they just took the time in all their selling to advocate, they would. I believe that sales consultants would have a bigger impact than even the association would, because this is the way I describe it. Correct me if I'm wrong. You as an association, you're dealing with your members, you're dealing with legislature, and that's great. We need that, right? But the way our country was set up, it's about the people living in it.
Absolutely.
So who has their ear more? And I believe the sales consultants have their ear more than I do, or Cascade does, or anyone, right? So I always tell sales consultants, in your marketing, you should put some things out advocating for the industry, because you may reach an individual that lives in a stick-built home right now in the middle of Louisville, and they may go and say, hey, why can't I have one of these in my neighborhood?
Absolutely.
they're cheaper, like less expensive, right?
Right.
Why can't we start putting? They're built better. They're built to these codes, and then they start raising awareness,
Sure.
and maybe more legislators will listen. Am I wrong?
No, you're absolutely right. One of my previous careers was in sales. I'm still in sales as a state association exec. The only difference is instead of a contract at the end of the transaction, it's a piece of legislation, or it's some sort of policy change, or it's, hey, allow these homes to be placed in this area, that sort of thing. That's a big part of what I do. Of here are the features and benefits of, instead of a specific home or a specific product, but as an industry as a whole. And so getting involved as a salesperson is extremely important, because a big part of what we do is collect data and hire research firms to go and see, all right, what are the consumers in Kentucky, those that are looking at making a move in the next 12 months, what are they looking for? Are they considering a manufactured home? And if they are, how are they shopping for those homes? So all of that are things that, based off of the dues that are paid to the association, we reinvest that money to where our retailers can sell more homes, our lenders can get more loans and lead generation and all of that. So I'm still in sales, but I'm also doing what we can to equip other sales folks with the data they need.
Now you bring up some research, right? And I'm curious I've been talking on, I've had some certain talking points myself, right, with the sales and the sales force of the industry when it comes to how people are thinking now, especially those buyers that are considering manufactured homes for the first time.
Yep.
That had lived in the stick built or just in apartments, hadn't really heard of it and whatnot. The way I always portray it or speak about it to sales consultants is this way. I say, one, obviously they're looking at the dollars and cents, right? That's they can't buy what they would want to buy, so they're looking for options, right? Sure. But now it's, how can I make it relatable?
Right.
How can I make my home, my manufactured home offering to them similar to what they're used to in their buying process?
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
How can I make it feel the same? In other words, how do I talk to them?
Right.
How do I look? Am I in my t-shirt and shorts?
Yeah.
Or am I in at least a dress shirt or polo shirt with some slacks?
Right.
Those little things. I think, am I on to something?
Absolutely.
There?
Yeah, absolutely. We talk all the time inside of the industry of, we are 9 to 11% of all housing starts. Mm-hmm. We've been stuck there for decades, right? We can't get out of it. And the reason is because I think, I'm just speaking for me, we sell the same way we have always sold. We sell on price and price alone, right? We have to adjust our messaging and sell to an audience that we've never sold to. You can walk around the Louisville show here and you can see homes that look like your traditional manufactured homes. I always tell people, don't confuse quality with cosmetic appeal. Those are two different things, right? But now to have a home that when you pull in the driveway, you can't tell it's not a site-built home, that is a different sales process and a different transaction with a consumer than what that traditional home is. And so being trained and being able to be that chameleon and being able to ask the correct questions to lead that consumer down that path is extremely, extremely important. And the data supports that, right? When we hired Trifecta Research Group, that was some of the questions that we asked. What is it that you think of manufactured housing today versus 10 years ago? What's changed? And a lot of the answers, obviously affordability is still a key component of that, but also cosmetic appeal, safety, the features, the technology, the curb appeal, all of those things were at the top of the list. But if our salespeople are just selling on price and price alone, you're missing out on the ability to expand beyond that 9 to 11%.
Yeah, and so that goes to buyer experience, right? That whole buying experience. Are we improving the buying experience? And so, man, we could talk about that all day, but one of the things with regards to that, Logan, is I believe that 9 to 10%, like you mentioned, we're stuck there. We've been stuck there for years because not only are we selling the same, but we've always retailers,
Right.
for the most part, and even communities to a certain extent, have always just been focused on a certain buyer,
Right.
the manufactured home buyer.
Right.
Right. And everybody, I tell retailers all the time when I'm working with them, like, stop worrying about what this retailer's doing down the street. Why aren't you focused on these 26 million families out here that can't buy a site built home?
Right.
Because it takes you leveling up to be able to do that. And some of them aren't willing to do that.
Right.
Don't know how, or don't want to put in the work to it, or they know it's like they got to be different.
Sure.
And change is hard.
Sure. Yeah. The give you a prime example. We passed some legislation this past year that's going to go into effect in July of this year. That's going to basically put us on the same playing field as site built homes as it relates to planning and zoning. So a municipality won't be able to exclude manufactured housing from any zone. They won't be able to do what they've done in the past where they say, yeah, we allow manufactured housing, but you have to have 10 acres. It's a good way to say no manufactured housing, right? So now they're limited to what stipulations they can put on us: facade, roof pitch, foundation material, some of those things. They can't extend beyond that. And anything that they put on us, they also have to have on site built. So it completely puts us on the same playing field as site built. But the ones that are going to be able to take advantage of this are the ones that sell homes, period.
Yeah.
They don't quantify it or disqualify it as manufactured homes. I'm selling homes.
Yep.
You know, this is a site, or this is a stick built home that just happens to be built in a factory.
Yep.
Right. And so the ones that we feel our fastest growing segment are the site built developers, the ones that sell just homes, because we look at it and we go, well, that house is $250,000. And some of the industry folks go, well, you can build a site built for that. Okay, find a site builder that will do it, right? Just because you could in material wise doesn't mean that you're going to be able to find somebody that will.
That can do it.
And so inside of our industry, I think we look at it inside of our own bubble as opposed to outside of our industry. They're looking at $250,000 and they're saying, I want that. Like that's where I want to be. And so it takes us adjusting our messaging internally.
Sure. And you know, I strongly believe that if somebody wanted to make that switch, they could, right? Lack of confidence, maybe, whatever it may be, right? We could go into that.
Sure.
That's not what we're having a conversation about today. But I'm glad to hear that we're thinking the same thing, right? Because that's the whole reason why I left retail, not because I didn't like it, but because I knew something had to change and nobody was talking. The associations have always, I'm from Texas. DJ does a great job of it.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yep.
TMHA does fantastic. But on the retail side, the retailers, my ex-bosses, everybody, we're never talking about that stuff.
Right.
And I wanted to start bringing that conversation to the salespeople, sales consultants, so they realize that we have a huge opportunity in front of us.
Right.
You've made money before. It's just, you can exponentially grow that with what's available in front of you if you just change your way of thinking and operate it differently, right? Which I think the industry is poised for it.
Absolutely.
From factories, from manufacturing to lending, everything is right there. We just got to get sales caught up to it.
Right. Yeah, the salesperson is the liaison, right? You know, the factories, the design teams at these factories, the engineers, the quality control, they have met the need, right? They have risen to the occasion. And the red carpet has been rolled out for us as an industry. You know, Kentucky is 206,000 homes short as of 2024. Wow. By 2029, if no change happens, no policy change takes effect, that number is expected to go to 290,000.
Wow.
And so the need is there. The product now is there, but we need that connection point from the product to the consumer. And that's where it falls to the salesperson.
And so with that being said, you know, I know every association, Kentucky's no different. You got your continuing education, right? Yep. You guys actually, you put on for installers and everyone, you put on different types of classes so that they can continue to improve, right?
Right. Yep.
And so now you guys have partnered up MHEI, the education portion of it, and you're going to put together an in-person PHC training, professional housing consultants training certification course. And I believe it's March 10th.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely.
So what's Why are you deciding to do that?
Yeah, I am passionate about education, right? I'm passionate about education for folks outside of our industry to be able to see, hey, here's what our product is now that have never considered us in the past. But I'm as passionate about education inside of the industry, for us to be able to update our messaging, update our tactics, update how we talk to customers and qualify those customers, things like that. And so if we have opportunities to do that, like through the PHC program, we want to be able to do that. So that's not limited to just sales. We do a continuing ed for installers to ensure that they're installing these new homes and the new ways that they're built the proper way. So I think education is power. And so we're really excited to partner with MHEI and you to put on this course. Like you said, March 10th from 10 to 6, it's going to be at our office at KMHI. And so love to have everybody out.
Yeah. So everybody that's part of the Kentucky Association, you've got an open invitation. You can go online. I believe you guys are going to have the information on your website as well.
It's on
right?
our website, kmhi.org. You can click on events and register right there.
Yeah. So March 10th, we're going to be doing that class all day, 10 to 6. Come be a part of it. Get certified as a PHC, professional housing consultant, and let's work together to get us to that next level. Let's start thinking bigger and operating differently so that we can reach more of these folks that now the association's opened the door for you with being able to affect this change in legislation. You're going to have a huge opportunity. And all of you in retail, look, builder developers, fantastic. I mean, you've been there already. You should take full advantage of this. It just takes leveling up. So March 10th, come on out, be a part of it. Logan, appreciate you being here with us, man.
Yeah. Thanks for coming to Kentucky.
Yeah, no, we love being out here. It's one of my favorite shows.
That's right. And there's not a foot of snow outside this time.
No, so that's what I was told. The whole team, right? Like last year, snow, ice, it was crazy.
Not this time.
But no, it's beautiful, and we look forward to coming back in March.
Yep.
So thank you again, man.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you.